I love doing vision boards where we cut out images and words or phrases to inspire us to chase our dreams and reach the goals that we put out for ourselves. Lately, I've done a new activity that I call a time travel board, where instead of looking at dreams or goals per se, we look more at who we want to be. Now, the present is really what is most important because it's in the present where we can take action towards our dreams. So that we're not just wishing, we are actually actively taking steps towards where we want to be. But before we focus on the present, we also want to look back at who we were. So we go through our photos. So I love looking back at my memories. So I look back at photos that showed who I was, and I focused on what I loved about who I was. So I look back at traits or things I used to love to do, and I also just wanted to focus on looking at, when I was, let's say, 8 or 16 or 30, what did I dream of? Who was I? What was really what I loved? And then, so I put that in a template that I love just putting a collage together, kind of like a vision board of who I was. By looking back at who we were, it gives us insight on what we used to love to do that we may not be doing anymore, or it may give us some insight into what we used to dream about, maybe some traits that we had that we may have maybe whether we intended to or not, may have let go of. And it really shows, who we really were before. There's a famous quote of, who were you before the world told you who you were supposed to be? And it's when we look back at our younger self, we really see maybe a bit more of an authentic self. So looking back is also a great reminder of maybe some things that we would love to revive now. Then we want to look at who we are now. So comparing, who we were, which parts of who we were did we love, and we aren't really embracing that person now. And it also kind of shows us, we may notice something that we're like, that's part of me that I wouldn't mind letting go now. So I don't actually put that in the template. I only include in the template who am I of things I love about who I am today. And sometimes by looking back and looking at who we are now, we'll see themes and we'll see connections. And that's where I really enjoy looking back and comparing to who I am today. And another way to look at who we are now is by taking personality tests that I love to do, and love to do not on a regular basis, but every few years. It's interesting to take these personality tests, like the VS character strengths. I love that one. The Myers-Briggs, the Enneagram, the Sparketype, the 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. I just love taking these quizzes because they kind of give you some insight. Sometimes you're surprised by something, or it just gives you an aha moment of recognition of who we are. And so I just love doing those personality tests to just kind of get a bit more insight, and maybe that'll spark some traits or activities you love that are, like that you could include in the template, who am I? Once we've looked at who was I and who am I, we want to look at who and how we intend to be. And I am using that word intend on purpose, to really be a proactive mindset, to really look at, who we intend to be, not just who we wish to be or aspire to be, but who we intend to be and how we intend to be. So who may be looking more at a trait, whereas how may be looking more at an action or a state of being. So who could be like I'm a writer, whereas how could be I am writing, and it's more of an action. It's not a label. So I love having both options because sometimes it is a trait that we want to focus on, and sometimes it's more of an action or a state of being. So looking back at who we were and looking today at who we are is great for analysis. It's great to let us know where we are. It's just like status quo for now. But Benjamin Hardy, in his book, Personality Isn't Permanent, says that sometimes we can have a fixed mindset by just using like results from personality tests, for example, that I mentioned earlier. Like if we use that as a crutch, right? So in one example I have from a Gretchen Rubin quiz, it said that I was an opener. So I will open a shampoo bottle before finishing the other, right? So I will maybe open a ketchup bottle before finishing the old one. So and the other major thing, those are minor examples, but the major one would be that I start projects and don't finish them. And I can use that as a crutch. I can use it as an excuse saying, oh, well, I'm an opener. I don't finish projects, so that's why I'm not finishing this project. And that would be more of a fixed mindset. But he mentions that if we have a growth mindset, we can look at how can I become more of a closer as opposed to an opener. And we can improve, we can change. And in the VIA character strength, one of my top strengths, there's 24 strengths that they rank when you fill out that questionnaire. And one of them is my love of learning. So I love to learn. So that it kind of explains why I love to start projects. And then once I've learned what I want to learn, sometimes the ending isn't as interesting for me. But I think as well, it could be learning new ways of finishing. So I just love the idea of looking at those results from the personality test more as education, something to learn about us. And then if we don't like what we're kind of the results we're getting, then we can take steps in order to improve them. So that is where I want to go with, who and how do I intend to be is, to kind of put it out there of, it's a plan. It's not just dreaming of going somewhere and traveling like, the things I have on my vision boards are more maybe activities or things I want to do. This is more looking at the person I want to become. So I included those. This is like just a small copy, that I printed as a reminder for myself of the time travel board where I write, who was I, who am I, and then bigger, which is important to just focus on who and how do I intend to be. That's kind of like the most important thing to focus on because, that's the dream, but really the focus is really on the present and who I am now and how I can show up and act in order to become who and how I intend to be. So I hope you found this interesting and inspiring, and perhaps you'll want to look at who you were, who you are, and who and how you intend to be. And maybe it'll inspire you to make your own time travel board. And I'd love to hear from you if you do. If you would like to get a copy of the templates I use so you don't have to recreate them, if you don't like creating like I do, I did those in Canva, I'm happy to share them with you. So I'd love to hear from you, and subscribe if you want to find out when my next video comes out. So thank you for watching.